I've actually represented children that are trafficked. I've represented children that are automatically charged as adults. I've represented children that are lead poisoned. I've represented children that have developmental disabilities. I've represented children that come from abuse and neglect. I've represented children that are lured and coerced into gang activity. And fundamentally, there's no real difference between the trauma and the fact that very rarely are there circumstances such that it could be argued that they were acting on their own, fully aware of the consequences of their actions, and that they should be prosecuted. In the two more recent cases that I've represented children that are trafficked, there was no way in the entire world, once it was discovered and discussed with the prosecutor, that the prosecutor was going to prosecute this child. I don't believe, because you even see the state's attorneys here agreeing with this bill, that this is a thing where we are really prosecuting these children. But the issue that I have, and even if you can hear it in my voice, the fact that we take one category of traumatized children and ignore and demonize all of the others, and we're talking about Black children. And the fact that this is a bill that is a feel-good bill. I don't know in practical reality that it really does a whole lot, because I honestly don't believe in Maryland these cases are being prosecuted. I know that what we usually do is we do a mutual postponement for the child to go into a treatment or a program and get the services they need. And then once that's done, the case is dismissed anyway. That's been standard what I've done. Maybe it's not done across the state, but that's where it's done in Baltimore City and County where I've done the cases. And it defies logic to me that we only recognize this as this group of children as children that we need to save from the criminal justice system. For 13 years, there's been science, there's been advocates that have come here and explained the trauma that happens when we charge children as adults and they all wind up either being sent back to the juvenile system after they've been in the adult system, the lack of services they receive if they're in the adult system. And it's gone really with no compassion, no understanding, and no care. If a child that was trafficked was automatically charged as an adult, I'm pretty sure that we would have a problem with that. But we don't care about that child that's lead poisoned or neglected or just coerced into a gang or just has horrible parenting and horrible circumstances that is in that situation. And so I take great issue with the fact that we have this selective care. There is no fundamental difference when I represent a child that is trafficked versus a child that comes from all of these other traumas. Yet there are those here that would take those other children and demonize them, criminalize them, and put them in prison for life. What if a trafficked child was involved in a felony and that felony wound up having a death occur? And so felony murder. Would we suddenly have sympathy for this idea that felony murder can be very unfair? It's outrageous. It's outrageous that we only see this particular group of minors as victims and children, and it's not okay. And last year, we passed a bill that said we got to save children from marriage, but we still can't save other children from the criminal justice system. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with this mentality and this lack of regard for Black children in this body.